me, I think replay operators can be kind of divided into three categories. The basic replay function, in order to be able to cue to a specific point and roll the video from that point according to the director's instructions, is obviously the bread and butter of any operator. The second role would be making highlights or analysis. So much more of a playlist type role, clipping off the necessary pieces, most of the time according to instructions, sometimes up to your own devices, and crafting a playlist that makes sense, whether that's highlights or analysis. And the third type of role that the operator might do is specialize in rollout, or little teasers bumping to the break, coming back from a break, short but quite creative, quick, maybe using some effects. Some people tend to specialize in that and are particularly good at it. Usually people that either are editors or come from an editing background or operate both as editors and as EVS operators. Rollouts, as we know, play a really key part in the quality of the broadcast and the product. In the tennis environment, I think one of the most important things about contributing to a tennis event is knowing how much time there is between the points to offer replays. Certain players serve really quickly after each point, others take their time. If you've only got, say, 12 seconds between the end of one point and the beginning of the next serve, you know you've only got time for one or two replays. If maybe on a surface like clay, where there's more time, where the server might spend a bit more time preparing, clearing the lines, kicking the clay off their shoes, for example, there's a bit more time to get maybe 3 replays in. So it's good to read the game and understand how different players are going to affect what you can contribute to each match. The other thing is really understanding where the cameras are around the court, because if you know where the cameras are and what those replay angles are called, you don't really have to look at your monitors as much to understand what replays are going to work best. Kind of a photographic memory of where the cameras are around the court is really important in contributing to a tennis match as far as the broadcast is concerned. I think offering is, for me, the #1 thing that any operator can do to help the director. The other thing is just paying attention to what's going on in the bigger picture. Certainly listening to the talent if it's a show where there is either commentary or a unilateral studio or in-vision component. I really like to listen to what they're saying, not only on camera but also before or when they're not actually to line, so that they might be looking for something. They might need something about analysis. There might have been something that happened in a previous tournament, a previous event, that we can quickly find and help. It's just all about contributing. The buttons themselves, obviously it takes time to get used to the buttons and all of the features of the EVS console, but in general, most people get their head around that quite quickly. So the way to stand out is by kind of having a producer's cap on and making lots of contributions to help the quality of the show itself. Certainly education, nobody should be afraid of, no matter how experienced they may be. So I've attended 2 courses at EVS, for example, that were really useful, and it gave me a chance to ask questions and get the answers and not be afraid to do that, because obviously it was in a training environment. I definitely pay attention to people. I like to observe how kind of front row production and the director work, how the AD works, all the different function areas that make up a live broadcast. Really pay attention to how they work, not just in the show, but also in the facts checking, the rigging and the planning. They're all, of course, important towards the success of the show. And be a good reader and try things and learn from your colleagues and share questions, share answers, and try and spread that knowledge, because collectively a team is always going to be the key to the success of any broadcast.